Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Rolling Forward podcast. I have Ian Smith here today. And before we get started, Ian, I do have a quick question for you. You've turned a simple summer enrichment idea into Skool Aid, impacting hundreds of kids with everything from STEM and arts to wellness and disability awareness. When a kid walks into a Skool Aid session for the first time, what do you hope they feel in the first 5 minutes and why?
Going right into it, huh?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, I mean, what I tell our teaching artists is that there are a lot of ways to, to work with a child.
Mhm.
And, whether it be, fun or love or just caring, if there's a lot of ways to like be successful with children. But for me, specifically,
Mhm.
I want them within first 5 minutes to think that I'm awesome and to be excited.
I like it. Yeah. Yeah, I've done an event with you as well. We did wheelchair basketball, and we'll get into a lot of that.
Sure.
But first, everybody, welcome to the Rolling Forward podcast, a podcast of people who keep rolling forward no matter what life throws at them. Real people, real stories powered by purpose, resilience, and a drive that never ends. I'm Zach Sikora. Spina bifida didn't stop me. It just gave me a better excuse to sit down while I take over the world. Today's funny t-shirt is I am on a roll, or I'm on a roll. Let me see if we can. There you go. So it's I'm on a roll. There's a guy in a wheelchair laughing. Obviously, the pun is a wheelchair's roll. But anyway, you can find these shirts at rollingforward.printful.me. And if you have a funny shirt that that fits the theme, let's say, drop it in the comments. It might make it into my shop. Now let's roll into today's episode.
Whoa! Let's start there.
Yeah.
So you sell T-shirts?
I do. I sell T-shirts.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they're all disability oriented, and this is one of my curated T-shirts. ChatGPT has helped me design these images, and just with talking to people over time, I've created a few funny ones. So.
Graphic designers aren't needed anymore.
No, well, I don't know. If you really look closely, the wheel itself is a little janky. It's missing spokes, or the spokes aren't aligned properly. But
there's a whole lot of things that like you're not able to get with the real life. Like, and there's a little table there.
There's a table,
isn't there?
Those are
what that is?
His like his handle, like his like
his handrails,
like what do you call the armrests? I think those are his armrests.
But that's not a thing in like your chair, for example.
No, and one of the things with curating images with ChatGPT is it's very hard to like. For some reason, what it does is if you're like, no, I don't want armrests, it'll completely regenerate a new image.
Oh, I know.
And then
you can't just like make a specific change.
Yeah.
Because then it'll just like, there's the new one. I'm like, I really want to go back to these.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully it'll get better and I'll be able to produce images a little bit more. And the look that I'm really going for is like, almost stick figure on these images. Like I want low detail, and just have like, I don't know. Like I don't even know if like I'd really want somebody laughing, and then like the ha 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 that you see on it.
Right.
I don't like that, but
well, you could have got rid of that.
I could have. I don't want to put anything into editing, and I just don't have enough time for that. So. If you know a free editor that wants to
not free, but I mean, I used to own a t-shirt company. That's kind of why I brought that up.
Okay.
And so like, I don't know, a couple years before COVID, we started a company called NKYTs, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But and it all really gave me something to do, other than what we did a lot with Skool Aid during COVID, but. It kept me busier at least.
Yeah.
And I loved it, but at some
Mhm.
point, like when Skool Aid started taking off after COVID ended, essentially, I just had to pick.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't run two businesses,
Right.
and I
Right.
picked the kids over
Yeah.
t-shirts.
Yeah.
But to be honest, we still do school merch.
Yeah.
So like we make all of our Skool Aid shirts, but we also make
Mm-hmm.
shirts for schools. I was actually given a quote today for a school,
Oh.
like a homecoming shirt.
Oh, okay.
Essentially.
Interesting.
So we could talk.
Well, yeah, I'm down. Just out of curiosity, what do you use to source your shirts?
So, I mean, we're basically a middle person, but at this point, like I have like 10 years of experience
Yeah.
working in the shirt industry. So like,
Oh.
and so actually my dad he actually had an office right down the street
Yeah.
and in like Bond Hill, and they owned he owned a company called Cincinnati Screen Printing and Equipment.
Okay.
So he would sell like dryers and make dryers and like other screen printing and equipment for screen printers.
Interesting.
So he kind of taught me about that business. And so I never really learned how to print shirts myself.
Yeah.
Although I've dabbled and like watched it a lot.
Yeah.
But I also but I know all the things to know about different types of shirts and different ways of printing, screen printing and sublimation and like all of those things. So like that is a thing that I should be sharing with the world, right?
Sure,
like
yeah.
all those knowledge things. So we still make merch for schools, and sometimes a friend of mine will be like, "Hey, do you still make shirts?" I'm like, "I can."
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah, that's interesting. So Printful like creates all my
I'm
shirts.
familiar.
So I
Yeah.
just put the designs out there,
Right.
and then they and I can choose like the style, the type of shirt, and
Yeah, but you get like 3 choices as opposed to infinity,
Yeah.
which is kind of
Yeah.
better.
yeah, yeah. I don't mind it. I mean, this is just like a secondary,
Sure.
or even like
Third and there.
the fourth thing the fourth and dairy thing that I'm doing. So
Well, I'm a little bit of a shirt diva at this point.
yeah.
If it's not dry fit or a tri blend,
Uh-huh.
I'm not wearing it.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
and I have that, I'm able to do that just because I know all of the things about the shirts. And
Yeah.
if a band that has a shirt that I don't like, I'm just not going to get it.
Right.
And I'll make one. I'm not going to steal their logos and
Right,
things,
right.
but I'll just make something that I like myself. So
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for that conversation. The t-shirt, I'm sure like there's not too many people ask me about my t-shirts or anything like that. So it's interesting. Okay. So we did the intro. So let's talk about how we know each other.
Yeah.
Do you wanna tell?
I'll
the
go by
story?
my memory. Now, keep in mind, my memory is not perfect.
Mine
So
isn't either.
we'll start with B, and then you can add.
I'll fill in gaps. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we met at Mad Tree, right?
Yeah.
You were just there. I don't know what I was there for whatsoever.
Yeah.
I know I went up there for a little while, like on Monday nights, I want to say, and played ping pong with like a group of ping pong ballers.
Yeah.
Ping pong ballers.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I was there for a different reason that night.
Yeah.
But I just saw you kind of randomly, and I'm not usually scared to go up to somebody.
Yeah.
And usually, like, if it's someone with a disability in a chair and I see that they might be an option to play wheelchair sports,
Yeah.
I'll throw it out to them.
Right.
Because why not? Like,
Right.
if I can help connect, anyone to anything
Yeah.
to help better their lives a little bit, or if they aren't interested, fine, no big deal.
Yeah.
But I think I went up to you and was like, "Hey, man, my name's Ian," and you're like, "Hey, random bearded guy, I'm Zach or whatever," and I'm like, "Have you ever played wheelchair sports or
Right.
something like that?"
Right.
You were like, "Yeah, I played up in Dayton. I used to play wheelchair basketball, but I played wheelchair tennis, and I really need to get back into it," or something like that.
Right. That's it.
And so I was like, well, you should hang out with my buddy Jake and my buddy Adam because I think that happened, right?
Yeah. It was like some sort of like annual Mad Tree party or something. I don't know exactly what it was, but
Huh.
it was like packed. I know it was
It
one of those
was. You're
events where
right.
there
So it
was a
wasn't a
lot of people.
Monday. So it was like a Friday night. Like, so I do know some of those guys. So maybe was it like a invite thing?
No, it wasn't
Okay.
invite, but they had opened up their like where they brew their beer, and like it was the old Mad Tree,
Oh, it was
right?
the old Mad Tree.
Yeah,
I was thinking it was the new.
it was the
Okay.
old Mad Tree, and they had opened up their like side building to a whole bunch of things. I don't even remember what was
I'll
there,
go for it.
but yeah. So anyway, I mean, Ian came up to me, and I'm so thankful because you were kind of my start into Cincinnati wheelchair sports.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was in Cincinnati for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. I had moved and from Columbus actually,
Columbus. I said Dayton. Right?
but I was in Dayton as
North.
well.
Oh.
I went to Wright State. I did play
Oh yeah.
basketball there. So
And they have a great facility, and they're like a big champion of of adaptive sports, right?
Yeah.
I know they used to host wheelchair basketball tournaments.
yeah. Wright State's supposed to be like super accessible. They have underground tunnels, and so yeah. I don't think they have wheelchair sports as much as I would like to see.
Sure. They don't have a program. They don't have an adaptive sports program.
From what I mean, like Wright State had one when I was in school there, but and there's a couple people who used to play basketball, and I think there's people who play softball that maybe travel to Columbus, but I don't really know. I mean, there's a few people. There's like one person that I know of that plays wheelchair tennis. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It's kind of like died a little bit in that community. So.
Well, it's awesome though, because ultimately, sometimes that's how things happen,
Yeah.
right? It's just like spreading the word of things,
Yeah.
and that I'm aware of that.
Mhm.
And so why not be a champion of wheelchair sports and just say, hey,
Yeah.
are you connected in this area with that? Because I can do that.
Right.
But it doesn't like. Obviously, I'm not doing that with just disability community. I
Mhm.
try to do that with the music community. I
Yeah.
try to do that with the art community.
Yeah.
And really, I've kind of always been that connector.
Yeah.
Like I remember like when I was probably 17 or 19 or whatever, I was like, everybody was, and still happens. Everybody always is. I'm the person to like ask like, oh, what's this person's number? What's this person's number?
Yeah.
Hey, can you, do you know a person who does hardwood floors? Do you know a person who could do this mural? Do you know this person to do that? And I was like, man, if I could just make like a 5% of like all of
Right.
those connections that I'm giving,
Of course.
like I would actually have a job.
Yeah. Right.
But I will say, I mean, essentially that's kind of what Skool Aid is.
Yeah.
Um,
We will definitely get into
Yeah.
Skool Aid a lot. But so the other thing, so you asked me about wheelchair basketball, and
Yeah, sure.
wheelchair tennis wasn't even in Cincinnati at that time.
oh,
So I got into wheelchair basketball for several years, and then Cincinnati Tennis Foundation was looking to start a wheelchair program, and I got
Boom.
involved in that. So yeah, you were my first connector to the wheelchair basketball. Got to know Jake and Adam really well, and
awesome. So
yeah.
Cincinnati wouldn't have wheelchair tennis without me.
right, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, well,
I'm just kidding.
yeah, right.
You were going to do it eventually.
So a different person, actually, a girl by the name of Emmy Kaiser. Have you heard that name before?
I do know that Jake has mentioned Emmy Kaiser multiple times,
Yeah.
but is that the same person? I could be mixing people, but
Mhm.
I think she may have went to elementary school at Blessed Sacrament in Northern Kentucky.
She lives in Northern Kentucky. Yeah.
That might be it, because we just visited Blessed Sacrament School
Yeah.
last year, and they brought, if it was Emmy Kaiser,
Yeah.
they brought the Paralympians all
she's
the
a
information
Paralympian.
and put up a big banner, and
Yeah.
like we're super excited to and wanted to make sure that people remembered
Yeah.
Emmy Kaiser when we were there, which is super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So anyway, she reached out to me. I guess she got connected with Cincinnati Tennis Foundation somehow, and then that's how I got involved in wheelchair tennis. But I think it was so valuable to have the connection with with the basketball crew, because then I, that connected me with the bridge, and Renee with the
Yeah.
sled hockey and all that. And so like we now do events together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, didn't you guys just do the try it out,
yeah,
the try it day or?
we did a 4-way try day
Yeah.
with wheelchair basketball, sled hockey, wheelchair tennis, and pickleball. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, it was a great event. We had probably 30 kids there.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were just trying out the sport for the first time. So
I hadn't heard if it was successful or not, and that's awesome
yeah, it was
because
great.
I had the chairs that we use for our assembly programs
Mhm.
are basically a collaboration between us and Cincinnati Dragons and the CRC. And there's a lot of muddy waters there too, because if something needs happen, sometimes the Dragons will buy it. If something needs fixed, sometimes we will buy it.
Yep.
If it's CRC has provided chairs, so it's anyway, I had chairs that I had to take, and the bridge picked them up, and I just kind of helped out with that. But I didn't. I think that was just Friday.
Yeah, it's cool. We do have a stockpile of wheelchairs that we lend out to first time basketball, wheelchair tennis, and whatever other sport.
Yeah,
and it's we've built an amazing wheelchair sports community. I mean, adaptive sports community. It expands beyond that too. So,
I mean, I wouldn't be even in this world if it wasn't for Jake Counts. So like I put that on Jake Counts. Adam was huge in like starting this adaptive sports community in Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati as well.
Yeah.
He was working with the CRC at LeBlond and doing try it days and starting a wheelchair basketball team.
Yeah.
And so, I just love being a part of it.
Yeah, it's awesome, and we'll get into that. Just out of curiosity, Jake's been on the podcast. How do you two know each other?
Jake and I know each other. So my brother Colin, he's 2 years younger than I am.
Okay,
he went to or we all went to the same. We're both all from Covington, and Colin and Jake were good buddies. Like growing up, like they played able-bodied sports, back when they were kids. Like they weren't on the same baseball team, but they were on the same soccer team. In fact, like Jake's dad, Marv, used to coach Colin and Jake. And I was playing at that time. I was playing probably for like 7th grade soccer.
Okay.
So me and one of my teammates back then, Todd Dusing, I think, because he would help with the keepers, I would help coach a little bit too. And so I was always there, and I mainly knew Jake from then, like when they played soccer together.
Okay.
But then like Jake and Colin were good buddies all growing up. And when he had his accident, him and like Colin was one of the first people at the hospital or whatever. And so, they were always good buddies. So me and Jake always were buddies too. And once we got older, we all kind of blended, we all started hanging out together. And then, he moved away, and we started, I would go see his wheelchair basketball tournaments sometimes, especially when they're nearby, like in Lexington or Indianapolis. So I actually have a degree in radio TV, like communications.
Interesting.
So during college, I actually went and filmed one of his tournaments. That's why I was asking you about the microphones and this setup's cool. But I went and filmed one of his tournaments, and actually he said, and I don't even really remember this, but he said that I put together his tape to send to Team USA. And so during my radio TV days, I put together that tape or whatever, and I like to think he didn't make Team USA because of his skills. He made Team USA because of my editing skills.
Of course, yeah. All those edited misses to 3-point shots, like, yeah. No, I'm just kidding. But okay, so a couple like just fun questions to start off. What's the most unusual object or prop you've brought to a Skool Aid program? If you don't have one, that's fine.
The most unusual prop.
Yeah. Object or prop?
I'm probably missing some things because we use all kinds of random props. We really do.
Yeah.
we a lot of our Olympic events, we use a chicken. And so, like, instead of like long toss with a softball, we'll like throw the chicken as
Oh,
far as
that's
you
awesome.
can. It's a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
We play a game called Throwy Ball.
Yeah.
It's basically volleyball, but instead of volleying, you're just catching and throwing.
Okay.
A little bit more accessible,
Okay.
and not just a disability, but like to younger kids.
Yeah.
And we use like stuffed animals.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, Jake, when he was with Skool Aid, he ended up donating a big bin of stuffed animals that his daughter had collected over the years. I think they were just mainly trying to get them out of the house because there was like 80 of them.
Yeah,
And we play bocce. We call it animal bocce,
Uh-huh.
and we'll use like animals. But I would probably say I thought of this one.
Okay.
The last assembly that I did with Mozzie
Mm-hmm.
in our wheelchair basketball assembly, he tells a story about he kind of grew up playing a game with his brother called soccer ball,
Okay.
and they essentially his brother would would grab a roll of socks like a just a sock ball,
Mm-hmm.
throw it over, and then give him like 10 seconds to go get it and like make it into make it into the trash can or whatever.
Okay.
And so he told that story, and I had the idea like right beforehand. I was like, let's do that.
Yeah.
I had a couple extra Skool Aid shirts, so I grabbed a sock ball that I had. I always keep extra socks in the house
Yeah.
or in the car because
Yeah.
I don't like wet feet.
Okay.
And I do a lot of things outside, so I get wet feet. But,
Yeah.
So anyway, I grabbed. They were clean. I grabbed a sock ball, and for fun, right in the middle of the assembly, I was like, "All right, to celebrate Mozzie's brother, let's play some soccer ball."
Yeah.
So I threw the ball, and I was like, "Raise your hand if you would like to be our person to demonstrate." 300 kids, raised their hand, and I picked one. She came down. I said, "All right, when I say go, you're gonna have 10 seconds to go get that soccer ball, and then make it into any basket in the gym.
Yeah.
And if you do, I'll give you a T-shirt. If not, you get socks."
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
And she did win. It was awesome. She won like
Okay.
on the 9th second too, so it's super fun. We're definitely gonna do that again.
You have a ton of different games and ideas for kids. That's awesome. What about if we weren't here doing this episode right now, where would you be?
Either at the office, because I mean, we're recording this at like a 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon on a Monday. So I would either be at the office, but a lot of times I'll work from home.
Yeah.
So I have a backyard with like a deck in the back of it, kind of by my garden.
Okay.
And a lot of times it's such a nice day out today.
Yeah.
That's why I almost called and canceled this because I knew I was going to be cooped up inside.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But this, I'll go work out in the backyard.
Yeah.
A whole lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So
You're looking for quick answers, aren't you? I'm not good at that.
No, not necessarily. I think for especially for the next couple questions, like you can just
do.
let it roll. So,
Okay.
and then I'll
I like
I'll
how you did
adjust.
that.
Yeah. Right.
Do you do that a lot?
No, I didn't even mean
That
to
was
do
a really good one.
I did not even mean to do that.
No free ads, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you wanna
Free ad.
Coca-Cola or something,
Right, well,
whatever.
I actually was thinking about that when I keep drinking.
Yeah.
This episode has been brought to you by Pepsi.
Yeah. Pepsi, give me some sponsorship. But yeah, so anyway, let's get into the theme podcast question of what keeps you rolling forward.
What keeps me rolling forward? Yeah, I didn't prepare for that one.
No, you're
So, I mean, ultimately, I love seeing like smiley faces,
Yeah.
like with these kids,
Yeah.
and like I love the fact that I can introduce a fun thing that could become a hobby or it could become a career or whatever, and just kind of motivating kids to try new things.
Yeah.
I think that's how people like stay happy.
Yeah.
So if I can motivate people to try new things, then maybe they're going to be a happier person
Yeah.
when I'm finished with them.
Sure.
Whether it be to literally introduce them to music, or literally introduce them to wheelchair basketball, or introduce them to art or dance or culture or whatever. That's cool, but also just motivating them to try one of those things is something. So, like, I think that, I think that's mainly what keeps me rolling and keeps me going, is just trying, seeing those the kids that are trying something new, seeing how much fun they're having, or just doing something fun, see how much fun they're having, and like building community and building friendships, and because ultimately, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect, but I have a really nice life that I've kind of cultivated and created, and very lucky. And I kind of just want other people to be able to experience that.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I like it. Okay, so with Skool Aid serving hundreds of kids through creative programming, what mindset helps you keep pushing forward when things get tough?
So I didn't hear the last part because I was still thinking about for the first part. But
When
hold on.
when things get tough.
Yeah, I got that part.
Yeah.
So what keeps me rolling when things are tough?
Yeah.
Knowing that there's always an end.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, not an end.
Yeah.
Because there's never an end.
Yeah.
But there's always a solution, and we'll get there.
This too shall pass.
Yeah, this too shall pass. Right. Like, well, and I mean, that's one of the things that I talk about in the assembly is the power of positivity.
Yeah.
Is that, and I try to remember that at all aspects of life, whether it be with family, with work, with kids, all the trying times. Focus on what I can control, putting away the things that I can't control.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got that idea from Jake, or just I saw his resilience and was like, that's what he's doing, or whatever, because it's kind of all blended, because we did these assemblies for 10 years. So, but that power of positivity is like something that I live by, and that's how I get past the trying times. So at that point, and if you truly like just think about, okay, just focus on what you can control, it's not gonna exemplify, or it's not gonna largen. It's not going to get bigger. It's not going to get worse.
Right. Yeah. That's great. Have you ever heard of StrengthsFinder?
StrengthsFinder.
Yeah. So it's a personality test.
I hate the word strengths.
Yeah.
It's so hard to say, like strengths.
Well, so
THS is tough.
Yes. So oh yeah, it's so hard to say. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things that just reminded me of is positivity is so there's like I think 35 different words that that as you take this personality test, like if you get the book, for example, they'll have a code and you can get your top 5 strengths. And one of the things that I have in my top strengths is positivity. Sounds like you have that in yours as well, but
I try.
The general theme of StrengthsFinder, and this is why I gravitated to it so much, is it basically says, hey, don't necessarily worry about your weaknesses as much. Like, yeah, if they're affecting your day to day, like get them up to a par level, but like really just try to hone in on your strengths and unleash those. And so like connectors, it's some sort of word about connector and stuff like that. And you obviously have that as well. So there's very clear things that you're good at. And I just love that. That was just a side tangent, but
that's cool.
The next question is there a daily habit or tool you rely on to stay energized and inspired?
A daily habit or tool that I use to stay energized. I mean, nutrients. I try to stay healthy.
Do you supplement or eat healthy?
I'm not that great. I love all food, and that's one of my biggest issues. That's why this belly's here. With that said, I'm relatively active, so now I'm 47 now, so I have to be even more active to be able to eat that Chinese buffet or to be able to eat that Philly cheesesteak or whatever. But I mean, I try my best to like have smoothies regularly, to exercise regularly.
Yeah.
But my latest thing that I've been doing is wait in the morning, just turning on the TV and either watching like a Reds recap or like something, usually a Reds recap,
Yeah.
and just running in place
Yeah.
for like that 20 minutes, running in place, then like planking for 30 minutes or 30 seconds, 30 minutes. I can barely do a minute.
Yeah.
And then just doing just like, some stretching, but about 20-minute workout in the morning. That's helpful.
Mm.
But I'm not consistent enough because some days I'm waking up at 6 in the morning and driving to rural Kentucky to do an assembly.
Yeah.
And then some days I'm waking up at 9:30 and maybe going to a baseball game in Indianapolis or because my son plays travel baseball. So like I'm just not consistent.
Right.
And I don't know if I would thrive in a consistent world.
Yeah. I can kind of get behind that. There's obviously things that you're consistent in, like Skool Aid, or else you wouldn't have built
That's
this
fair.
business,
Yeah.
right? But
I'm not consistent on the daily on like my waking up and my lifestyle.
Yeah.
But I think I'm the type of person that needs the freedom, or at least needs the the resemblance of freedom for me to feel like I'm successful.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so next one is, this is a little Skool Aid oriented, but what advice would you give someone building a mission-driven organization from scratch? I actually, let me say this real quick because we talked.
Yeah,
and one of the cool things that I heard you say is jump.
Oh yeah,
basically, and like you showed me that Steve Harvey clip.
Yeah. I almost said it in a different way there, but I was kind of getting there, so I'll use that. I was gonna just say, just do it, but I think that's probably better.
Yeah,
I think. And yeah, like we were just talking, Thursday about.
Let's not talk about specific. I don't want to air that, but
no, I wasn't going to. But but anyway, the idea behind not taking that 9 to 5, or taking that 9 to 5 and just wanting to work in your passion, or make money from something you enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's like all alluring, right?
Yeah.
And to be honest, I get that question asked to me on the daily, not like daily, but like at least a few times a year, or a few times a month. Right. Mm-hmm. And like, how did you do this? Well, number one, I'm very lucky that my wife has an amazing job, and so it allows me to not pay myself that much, so that we can still have the house and the things.
What's she do?
She works for a nonprofit called Knowledge Works.
Okay.
And she works at like high level education, works with like groups of superintendents from like on the national level.
Cool.
And tries to like actually essentially like kind of what I try to do, connect. She's building platforms to get superintendents and principals talking, to get people on the same page and learning from each other. She's awesome.
Okay.
And so supportive about everything that I've ever done.
Yeah.
And really without her, I wouldn't be able to do all the shenanigan things that I do, good and bad.
Yeah.
But she's been great. But my advice would be just to start.
Yeah.
Just to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just to jump. And I was Steve Harvey. Number one, I love game shows.
Yeah.
Number two, he's funny.
Yeah.
Number three, Family Feud is probably one of my favorite game shows of all time, except for like the No Whammy guy. But
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
I'll have to get into it.
Okay, yeah.
Keep going. Yeah.
Let's get on top. Don't take me on tangents.
Right.
I'm already. I already do that, or I'll never come back. I'll be dug deep.
My first 5-hour podcast ever. No, I'm just kidding.
But Steve Harvey, I think he gives you a lot of these,
Nuggets.
motivational speeches at Family Feuds, like
Yeah.
before tapings, in between tapings, and things. And I've
Yeah.
watched a couple of them, and my favorite was about jumping. The idea of, if you are already always seeing the grass greener, and like you want to make money from something that you love, or you think there's something better out there. There's no good time.
Yeah.
There's no right time. There's no perfect time.
Right.
Just jump.
Yeah.
Because if you're always looking down, and I don't know exactly his analogy, but if you're always looking down the hill and like afraid to like go down the cliff and put yourself out there, then you're never gonna get there. But I know I get it. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing to jump, and like, I kind of got lucky on, doing that myself, because I was almost kind of forced to do it if I wanted to continue to do what I love. So,
yeah. So talk to me real quick. One of the things that you talked to me about the other day was, you were a special ed teacher for 3 years.
yeah.
And then you made the transition to Skool Aid, and you did jump.
Well, yeah, I'll let me go back a little bit further. I'll go
please.
into that a little bit. So I was raised in Covington. We moved to Taylor Mill actually when I was 15, but I stayed in Covington. So I was like the rich poor kid. Like, or the poor rich kid. Like, we lived in Taylor Mill, but we're from Covington. My dad didn't make a whole lot of money. He did okay. My mom, worked for the school system. Anyway, I ended up going to NKU, and I got a degree in radio, TV, or communications.
Sure.
I actually made up my own minor, pop culture with an emphasis of baseball.
Okay. Can you do that
baseball
today?
fan. I don't know. I don't know if you wanted to do I was able to double dip in a lot of my radio, TV classes and my pop culture classes.
Okay.
And then I had to pick a emphasis in pop culture, and I really love baseball. In fact, I had already taken a baseball class, so I said, well, can I use this history of baseball class if I do an emphasis in baseball? And they were like, great idea. Yeah, then you can double dip on that too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. So it was a way to get it out, because I took art classes anyway. It took me like 5.5 years to get a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
I actually love college. But anyway, I graduated with radio, TV. I started substitute teaching because my mom worked for the school system, and for an extra stipend, she would call substitutes. At this point, it's all like digitized and things, but she would call substitutes, and I was still living with my parents at that time. So she would be like, hey, Ian, you want to go teach a PE class? Or, hey, Ian, you want to do this class? And I started eventually just doing whatever.
Yeah.
And kind of loved it. But I wasn't really good with like following lesson plans and like following exactly what the teacher wanted me to do. And really, I don't think the teachers really cared, and the principals didn't care. They kind of just wanted them to, especially for a substitute, there might be like one worksheet to get them finished, but then like entertain them. So I did like spelling bees. I would do like math contests. I would play games. And then at some point a principal was like, well, what are you going to do when you grow up? I'm like, then I was musicianing at the time a lot. I was in a band called Hathaway back then, practicing 3 days a week in my buddy's garage. And I was like, I want to be a musician. What do you mean? And he's like, well, what's your backup plan? And I said, well, yeah, maybe I do need to do that. So he actually encouraged me to go further as an educator. And I went back to school while teaching. It was like a alternative certification in special education. I went for 3 years to earn my master's degree in special education, but you're teaching at the same time. Well, so that was a lot. Like, I was teaching full time. I was going to school full time, and at the time, me and my brother decided right at the same time to redo a house,
Mm.
and everything kind of fell apart for me. Like, I
Oh,
wasn't good at any of it.
yeah.
I was okay.
Because you had your hand in too many baskets,
I
right?
kind of did too
Whatever.
many things at a
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and so I taught 1 year or 2 years at Ninth District Elementary as a special educator.
Yeah.
And then the third year, I worked at Campbell County Day Treatment Facility. It was like a alternative school for like 7th through 12th.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that. Don't get me wrong. I loved all of it. And I'm really proud of, like, I graduated, like, I think 3 students that year with like credit recovery programs.
Okay.
But you're literally teaching all the subjects for 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's basically just like, here's what you need to be working on. I can come around, and my assistant teacher can come around and help out individually.
Yeah. Okay.
But I never was really great at, like, getting along with authority.
Yeah.
I still am not.
Yeah.
It's really a bit of the best and the worst thing about me.
Yeah.
Because, like, because of that, I think I'm able to be an entrepreneur, but also because of that, I'm not able to, like, I don't know. I speak my mind a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But anyway, I wasn't very coachable. I think that kind of prevented me from, like, going further in sports, really. But I think that, anyway, I started after doing special education for a while. I just felt like there was something better for me, something that fit me better.
Yeah.
And I started doing after school programs in Covington. Loved it, but then, like, grants kept ending. So, like, I worked in the fitness world doing PE classes after school.
Yeah.
Loved it. I was able to use, like, all my behavior modifications and positive reinforcement and things that I learned in my special education degree, but in a more of a fun way, or, like, a little bit, like, really sharing my passion as opposed to somebody else's.
Yeah.
But then that grant ended, so I started doing music classes and guitar lessons and drum circles, but then kind of integrating that movement that I learned. Let me go back real quick. That fitness portion,
Yeah.
I had a lady by the name of Meredith Potter
Okay.
who took me under her wing.
Mm-hmm.
And really,
Is she related to Harry at all? Sorry, bad joke.
She has cool glasses, but other than that, no.
Okay.
Dude, she's awesome. She's an East Sider, but she's done all kinds of different things. She's been working in education, but at that point, she took me under her wing. We became friends, but she kind of just taught me everything she knew about teaching fitness and teaching after school, and really saw that, like, that, I had that within me, and so. But anyway, like, after we both basically lost our jobs in that fitness grant at the same time, and that one night we got together and hung out at my house and actually, like, came up with the idea of doing Skool Aid, me and her.
Yeah.
Well, but it never really came to fruition. She ended up taking a different job. I started doing music classes with an amazing lady by the name of Loretta Baumgartner.
Okay.
And she did the same thing. She was like, she saw my awesomeness and was able to kind of be my second mentor in the world of music.
Yeah.
And really, like, encouraged me. So when I stopped working with them, put me in contact with this awesome lady, Pam Schooner. I worked with her in Drama Kinetics for a while.
Okay.
Well, Drama Kinetics is, theater and movement. I kind of fit in because I'm like, I'm dramatic.
Yeah.
But I'm more like music, PE, as opposed to, like, theater and dance. So I started working with them and going to a bunch of different schools, and, like, they would send me to different schools, and I loved it. Like, so much that, at that time I was only making probably $7,000 with that company, working like 2 or 3 hours after school, or 1 to 3 hours after school, but in different schools every time. At that time, I also worked to make ends meet. I started teaching guitar. I was working at a golf course for part-time. I worked for Gymboree playing music. teaching like mommy and me classes.
Okay.
I like sang and danced for like 6-month-olds and their moms.
I think we need to see video of that.
It's gotta be somewhere. Actually, I'm at least Facebook friends, like somewhat friends with a lot of these people. And like, there's a lot of these moms that formed like really cool mom groups all around the city from that era.
Cool.
And they're still buddies. And like now they're PTA presidents all around. So like a lot of times they'll hire us or hire our assembly or hire our Skool Aid.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we were, I was trying to piece it all together. Well, I love drama kinetics, and I wrote a proposal to the board, and I said, hey, I really don't fit in here. Like I'm not really theater. I'm not really the dance movement that you're looking for, but what if we did drama kinetics music? What if we did drama kinetics art? What if we did drama kinetics dance, drama kinetics? What if we did drama kinetics ceramics and yoga, and like built a menu of classes that way I wouldn't like have to fit into the mold of a drama kinetics teacher. You would just like help other people pass their passion to kids, whatever that passion is. So I presented that PowerPoint, probably one of my first PowerPoints other than college, to their board. And I think they kind of just got scared with my ideas because instead of embracing that, the next day they gave me a non-compete contract and was like, hey, in order to like continue to do this with drama kinetics, you have to sign this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm in, but let's come up with a way for me to make more than $7,000 a year. So like, let's come up with a 3-year plan for me to get close to full-time money at least. And then I'll sign this and we can work together, and I'm all about it. Cause it was just like a few days after that proposal. I thought they were going to do it. I thought I was going to bring a menu of classes to drama kinetics and, all the things. And she said, well, you can't even go to your after school program today. This is a Friday. You can't even go to you're not allowed to go to your after school program today unless you sign this non-compete contract. And I'm like,
that's crazy.
Well, then I guess you're making a competitor.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even want to do it.
Right.
I don't have a degree in business. I don't, ultimately I said, all right, I'm not going to sign it. So I went home and cried and was like, I knew that that's what I wanted to do the rest of my life at that point. I wanted to work with kids in a fun way.
Yeah.
And I had no idea how I was going to do it at that point because I thought drama kinetics was my connection. And, but really, ultimately I just, I didn't really do anything that weekend, but evidently she sent a bunch of emails to a lot of the schools that we were working with and saying, hey, Ian's not going to be coming. It'll be this person coming. And they all reached out to me. Like every one of those clients reached out to me on Monday and said, we don't care if you're working with drama kinetics or what, we want you back. And so, ultimately that's what gave me the motivation and the, the proof that is what I needed to continue to do. And so very quickly I had to start my own business. That was May 4th of 2011 that I filed my LLC. I had a buddy that was a lawyer, John Wagner, my dude, filed the LLC for me. I thought of 3 in the morning one night of the name Skool Aid, and then went with the K and went with the fun way. And then the next month in June, I was contracted by a lot of those same schools that I was working with to work directly. So ultimately, I went from making $35 an hour or whatever with drama kinetics paid me to basically $100 an hour.
That's
because
awesome.
they were doing it directly.
Yeah.
And so I quickly tried to build a menu from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're going to get in a lot more into Skool Aid. I do have a question. I want to get to know you a little bit outside of Skool Aid. So we talked about Reds and you listening to that. We talked about you being a musician. Real quick, from the musician standpoint, you play guitar or sing or?
Singing is my passion.
Oh,
I love
okay.
guitar,
Okay.
but and I play a little guitar,
Yeah.
but I've never really played a whole lot of guitar in bands that I'm in. There's always a better guitarist than
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
but yeah, singing is my thing.
We've never had anybody sing on the pot. No, I'm just kidding. uh,
Yeah, you're gonna have to prep me for that a little bit, but feel free to like share all the links and like
yeah, yeah,
do some of the videos and things
yeah.
because I mean it's out there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. If you want to give me links to your channel,
Yeah, I can do that.
I'll put them in the description and everybody can take a look. So, so who are you outside of Skool Aid? You have a family.
Yeah, I have a family. My wife is amazing. I kind of already mentioned her. Her name's
Yeah.
Emily.
Yeah.
She works in the education world as well. I have one son. His name is Eli. He's
Yeah.
15.
Okay.
He's awesome. Super into baseball, but also super into just like healthy lifestyle and like. And he's not. He's like a lot of these kids these days. Sound so old.
Kids
A lot of
these
these
days?
kids
Yeah,
these
right.
days are like inside a lot and doing video games and not active. This dude is active, and I'm
Yeah.
so proud of him.
It's awesome.
And a lot of it, I think that was the way my wife and I raised him. With that said,
Yeah.
it was just within him too. Like
Sure.
we were just able to find that spark because like he's the a couple of his he has a buddy that's that's right down the street, and his dad's told me multiple times like, yeah, he's the one trying to get my kids to go outside.
Cool.
He's the motivator.
Cool.
Which yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you mentioned you're out in the yard a lot. What other kinds of things do you do?
Yeah. Right now, I'm so lucky. I have the most beautiful backyard, and I've worked in it a lot, and I love working outside. But I have a garden, and I got like a fireplace with like a nice rock like
Base.
sitting arrangement and some
Cool.
and then like I have a deck above that.
Nice.
And I have a wiffle ball field in my backyard.
Okay, cool.
Right. That's actually one of the most fun things that I do is I've been running a wiffle ball league for 20 years,
In your backyard.
not just in my backyard.
Okay.
Our league is called Wiffle Ball Association of Northern Kentucky,
Yeah.
WANK for short, which is way too much fun with that. And so we have like a committee, but yeah, it was basically me that started it and I mean, we've been going for 20 years, and my good buddy has been doing stats for 20 years, and we literally have 20 years of stats of our wiffle ball league.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Okay.
And actually, I think I'm due to hit my 500th homer in like a year and a half, something like that. But yeah, we play in like 5 different backyards.
Wow.
We go to my house and then a few of my buddies' houses, and then we play at Covington Turner's down in Covington.
Okay.
It's a private club a few times a year. And then we actually just started a kids league 3 years ago that only happens at Turner's.
Mhm.
And that's awesome. We just started this. We only do the fall season, and we just started it year 3 this past Thursday. And like
Mhm.
when you said like what keeps you rolling,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Because I don't even there's no money in it for me on that wiffle ball world.
Right.
But and it's some of it's a lot of work, but setting up the fields and putting the teams together and doing a form for signups and
Yeah.
like things of that nature. But I love it. And like all the kids were, playing each other and smiling and hitting and fielding and like super proud of themselves. And like, they're learning lessons of teamwork and resilience and persistence and just through the game of wiffle ball and community and making friends. I mean, there's like, that's not like I don't know, not a lot of people get to see that type of thing
Sure.
with what they do in their work life.
Yeah.
And one of the most fun things that we're doing this year with that kids league is we have a lot of either former or current wankers, we call us, wiffle ball players from
Yeah.
our adult league coaching the kids league now. And so,
Cool.
so now they're like the guys that know this game really well. They're the pitchers, but they're also helping like their coach these like 7 through 12-year-olds
Yeah.
learn the game of wiffle ball that we came up with 20
Cool.
years ago.
That's awesome. Okay. Here's one of my favorite questions, and I get the answers across the board with this, but if you could master any skill overnight, what would it be?
Any skill overnight, what would it be? And
Yeah.
it has to be a skill. It can't be just like
You can
fake skills or like.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I mean, if I could do
Dealer's choice.
if I could do anything like superhero power type stuff, like I want to be able to move around.
Okay.
I want to teleport. I want to be able to go to all the cities. I want to be able to go to all the places
Yeah.
within a moment's notice.
Yeah.
I love traveling.
Okay.
I mean, at that point, I could go to every baseball stadium,
Yeah.
in just like in 30 days.
You could just pop in without
I could just pop in. Well, sure. Even if I had to buy a ticket somehow,
Pop in the roof. Yeah.
that I would do it. I would be able to go see every mountain range. I would be able to go kayak every river. Like, I mean, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
But if it was like a skill, and so I answered a different question.
It's
But
all right.
if that's another good one, what skill would I try to obtain really quickly? Yeah, I'm not coming up with a good answer. To be honest, I've been very blessed that I do have a lot of skills.
Yeah, you do.
I'm that guy that is like good at all of the backyard games, and like I'm starting to get less. Like there's finally some wiffle ball players that are probably better than me at this point in our league.
Yeah.
And it's a little humbling because now I'm the old guy in the league. Not the oldest guy. Like there's a few people out there, but I have been very blessed with some of the skills that I have. I don't know. Like I would probably choose.
Like, would you
to be able to like go ahead?
Would you choose to play to learn bass guitar or another?
Well, that's kind of what I was about to say. That I was about to say like just a really good instrument. At an instrument. If I had to pick an instrument, it might be just like it would probably be a piano or keyboard.
I love piano.
Because I mean, I can fumble my way through guitar, and I can fumble my way through like some not fumble, but like a lot of the bands that I've been in, I've been a percussionist. So, but like not full drums, just like hand drums and shakers and things of that nature. Like alternative percussionist.
Yeah.
But what I would probably choose is just like to be a really good piano player, because then that knowledge transfers to lots of other instruments.
True. Yeah. The non like work related or like anything like that, or like just really within the music industry, I think I'd choose singing, because I can't sing to save my life, and I've always admired people who can and all that.
I think that's a really hard thing to teach. I mean, I know there's a lot of voice teachers out there, and I'm sure that they're doing good things.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you don't have at least a beginning, then you're not going to get there. Another thing that I might throw out there is, and I mentioned it before, maybe coachability. That would be a pretty good skill.
Okay.
I've gotten, I think, a little bit better at listening and reacting and trying to, especially as a business owner, to try to like take feedback and be humbled and get that feedback and be open to those conversations. And so I do feel like I've gotten a lot better at it.
Mm.
But I think, if I was able to have that skill when I was younger, I think there could have been more doors opened for me.
Yeah.
But and still, even now, I think.
Interesting. Okay, so we're gonna get into Skool Aid, but before we get into Skool Aid, we're gonna do a rapid fire segment.
Okay.
So how the rapid fire works is I'm gonna say this or that, or I'm just gonna ask you a question that requires one word answers or one sentence answers, and then we'll move on to the next one. Sound good?
We're starting with one word and one sentence.
Yeah, just as quick as of an answer as you can give.
All right.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
STEM day or arts day?
Art.
Field trip or in-school workshop?
Field trip.
What is one skill you'd want every kid to learn before high school?
Confidence.
Ooh, I like that. Favorite Skool Aid prop? We're all about props today, I guess. I didn't even notice that. Socks. I love it. Which is tougher, hurting kids at events or hurting adults in the business?
Kids.
Okay, interesting. I always hear leadership as you being an adult babysitter. So I was curious what your answer was there, but
I mean, I had to pick one.
yeah, that's fair.
Don't get me wrong. I have very long leashes on some of the employees that I've had over the years.
Yeah,
and like contractors. So I mean,
yeah,
I'm not good at hurting other people.
Sure.
Although I think I do it on accident, just because I exude confidence, and sometimes I go too far with like joking.
Yeah,
I do that in family life, like all the lives.
yeah,
And so, but I'm not doing it on purpose.
right.
So it's not hard when I'm not doing it on purpose.
Yeah,
But when I'm doing it on purpose, it's hard either way, whether you're hurting kids or you're hurting adults. Like, but ultimately, like, if we're hurting our kids, and I'm guessing you're talking emotionally or their feelings type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, these can be taken any way.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hurt anyone physically.
Right. No, hurting.
Oh, hurting.
Yes.
Bringing them together.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh no,
whole
I did not
different
ask.
answer.
I did not ask
Okay.
That's
So if I'm hurting,
my bad.
What's harder?
Yeah.
Hurting adults is way harder.
Okay.
You cannot I am not hurtable.
Yeah.
If you're not coachable, you are not hurtable.
Yeah.
So I can count. I can look at like 200 kids all around, and you give me 10 seconds, and they'll be exactly where you need them to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Only because I think I call my style militant with a smile.
Mm-hmm.
I think that loudness and that I command attention, but I don't think it's in a scary way usually.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of kids respond to the fun loud person, maybe not the scary loud person.
Yeah, you have a lot of energy and you project your voice very well. So yeah,
I try. And a lot of that is, being a musician, but also being a PE teacher.
Yeah.
There's so many PE teachers that I think hurt their voice because they haven't been properly trained in the world of a world of singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a few more rapid fires. So, would you rather talk to a room of 100 kids or present to a board of adults?
100 kids.
Yep. Okay, I figured that would be your answer. Energy boost of choice.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
You asked me if I was nervous earlier.
Yeah.
I'm not nervous with 100 kids.
Yeah.
But I can be nervous in a one-on-one situation.
Sure.
So, like, same thing with a board of adults.
Yeah.
Like, the other day I went to a luncheon with a bunch of like arts educators, and I really wanted to talk, but I was so nervous that I didn't want to raise my hand and like talk about the things.
Interesting.
It was also early, but it was mainly nerves.
Yeah.
So, but go on.
So I just a real quick tangent on my part, but I know Ian through the Skool Aid stuff, through wheelchair sports, all that, like we haven't really had too many like one-on-one like personal conversations, let's
Sure.
say. So it's interesting to hear. I would never have guessed you get nervous in any situation. I kind of told you that but before the podcast, but
Well, I think a lot of people think that.
yeah.
But that's not fair.
Yeah.
Like, just because I exude confidence doesn't mean that I am at all times.
Yeah.
I'm just willing to throw myself out there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
And, and sometimes it's too much because
Yeah.
it's like it does get exhausting.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. That's how people feel about me too. Sometimes it gets exhausting because I like getting deep and I like having fun and I like doing like just I'm gonna go like let's go do things and so yeah. Okay, so next one is energy boost of choice, like caffeine
Coffee.
or coffee. Yeah, there you go. If you had to trade jobs with a teaching artist for a day, which role would you be? Which role would you take?
I don't think I can really answer that perfectly. I think I know what you're getting at, but I still am teaching. That's the thing.
Sure.
So, I get to, luckily at this point in my Skool Aid career, I get to do the assemblies with amazing wheelchair basketball athletes, either you or Adam or Jake or Mozzie. And I love those things, and we get to sometimes see 700 kids in like an hour program, and I'm like the hype guy. You guys are the talent, right?
Mhm.
But I also get to do like our field day event that we call the Skool Aid Olympics, where it's either families or just kids during the day that we put them into teams, and we go to different stations, and we're giving prizes. So I mean, I kind of still get to work with kids directly.
Yeah.
Are you just talking about like if I was to choose or just trade places with another genre of teacher?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's however
not a
you want to
perfect-
take
yeah.
it. It doesn't really matter. I think
I'll stay where I'm at.
that's an acceptable answer. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit of Skool Aid. I believe we talked about this, but if there's any other gaps that you want to fill in for like what Skool Aid is and all that, let me know. Do you have anything that you want to like specifically throw out right now?
Well,
Before I get into my questions?
yeah, sure. I mean, so like I got to the 2011 and I was just like kind of over talking about my background, but
yeah, sure.
At 2011 I started doing summer classes. I started doing after school classes. I was hired to do a few family events. The YMCA really embraced me. They hired me to go to a lot of different schools at that time, and the YMCA was very successful at like running a lot of summer camps and a lot of like 21st century programs. And kind of quickly, I would call friends of mine to see if they wanted to pass their passion to kids. So the first person I called was Kristen Kreft. She's amazing, still amazing. She's an entrepreneur at this point. She's written books. She's done lots of things. She doesn't have time for Skool Aid at this point.
Okay.
She's also a musician.
Cool.
But she was the first person I called. She was great with kids. She put together like a creative expression type of class. I also called I met this person Josh Flowers. He put together a music video production class because my heart has always been in radio TV, and I thought that would be super fun to get into that world with kids.
Yeah.
So then, so I think those were our first two other classes other than my movement and music class and fun with drums. But the idea was to put together a full menu. So, wellness classes and STEM classes and culture classes and, visual arts and performing arts. And so, we quickly, not that quickly, but over time, eventually got a menu of like 60 different types of classes.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
And right now we have about 25 to 30 teaching artists that are still teaching similar classes, but also always reinventing other classes or inventing classes.
Yeah.
The So we're almost like an agent for enrichment programs
Yeah.
for teaching artists to be able to bring summer camps or enrichment for after school or enrichment for like specials takeovers, like PE takeovers or like library takeovers. Or, some people have hired us to do like English classes and do our songwriting, classes. Or we do, this would be an amazing class if we could
Yeah.
put this on the road.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at this point, real quickly to reiterate, my, my role is to call these schools
Mhm.
to help put together partnerships and and do our wheelchair basketball assemblies and to put together like our Skool Aid Olympics
Yeah.
programs.
I like that. Okay, so going back to the early days, what were some of the toughest challenges that you faced?
Um, Organization.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a creative person, and us creative people aren't that great with organization.
Mhm.
I do think I possess a little bit of organization and creativity
Right.
that I think the Skool Aid would have never worked if I didn't possess both. But that's what I struggled with, and that's what I had to like get better at
Mhm.
to figure out schedules and like making sure that everybody was going into the right school and like and setting them up for success by
Right.
giving them all the logistics. But
Yeah.
to be honest, luckily I had the right people to help me with that.
Mhm.
And I know I've talked about Jake about being like an amazing supporter in the world of like disability awareness and like
Mhm.
doing wheelchair basketball assemblies with, but he was able to bring a lot of organization to this world of Skool Aid.
Right.
And he like would sit down, and he's a person that doesn't just accentuate his skills, like you were saying
Mhm.
earlier, like continue to, uh, figure out ways to use what you're good at.
Yeah.
He's a person that will figure out what he isn't good at and figure it out
Yeah.
and watch YouTube videos or like do the research and figure it out. And he's awesome at that.
Mhm.
I'm a delegator. If I don't know
Yeah.
how to plumb, I'll call the plumber. If I
Yeah.
don't know how to do something, I'll call the person that's good at that.
Right.
And that way I can focus on more of what I am good at and then delegate the things that I'm not good at. And
Yeah.
that's how I live my life. And I
Right.
think, and that's okay. Jake's not like that.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, Dennis, is not like that. They're the people that will learn all of the things, will be the jack of all the trades. And Jake was able to bring a lot of that world to our company by kind of figuring out Google queries for spreadsheets and figure out like how to make them all integrate so that they weren't like copy and pasted incorrectly. And like so essentially like we have this awesome amazing system built by Jake that I don't think we would have been successful without
Yeah.
that work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I want to talk about the impact that you've had with Skool Aid. What's your favorite feedback or moment when a kid lit up because of the program,
I mean,
or one of them? Doesn't
yeah,
have to be
yeah,
your
yeah,
favorite.
yeah. I mean, it has to be from our assemblies,
Mm,
or our Olympics. I've had multiple kids from both of those events coming up to me and saying this was the best day ever.
that's awesome.
And
Wow.
you're right. And so like, how can I not want to continue to do that and
Yeah.
keep rolling forward
Right.
with doing that? Because like, if I can make one kid's day the best day of his life, then why not continue to try to do that?
Hmm.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So, that's awesome. Let's dive in real quick. So, my experience with Skool Aid, you and I did an event together, and it's when I talk a lot about like purpose on the podcast and stuff like that, and like what I'm doing outside of work is just I absolutely love it. Like, don't get me wrong, work's work, right? But like with all the tennis, and then like You really inspired me with the Skool Aid stuff, because what we do is we go out and we have kids in an assembly format, right, on the basketball court, and you have me out there shooting hoops, shooting threes as they're coming in, and it's so cool because as soon as I make a three, they're like, let's go. And so that gets them like so excited. And this is probably the kid's first time ever seeing somebody
Sure.
doing
Yeah.
wheelchair sports, let alone shooting and making 3-pointers, right? And
You mean to paint the picture of like the assembly overall?
go ahead. Yeah.
So I mean,
Please.
essentially, it was Jake's college used to do these like demos and go to different schools, and sometimes have multiple athletes being interviewed by an assembly, asking questions, answering said questions, learning about disability, all of the array of disabilities, and then playing wheelchair basketball.
Yeah.
And they would do wheelchair basketball players versus the staff and just mop them,
Yeah.
which is super fun just to see how amazing these wheelchair basketball athletes are compared to these able bodies.
Yes.
And they would just, whoop them. And there's definitely something to be said for that. We kind of started to do a similar model, but over the years it blended and changed a little bit, and I was able to kind of like bring some hype and like music and some extra things to it,
Yeah.
to where at this point, when they all walk into the gym, the wheelchair basketball athlete is shooting threes, shooting half court shots, even layups as they're walking in. There's music playing. We always start with the Doors. I always start with Break On Through.
Yeah.
But then it goes into a bunch of different songs. And I got a football. I'm tossing with the kids in a wheelchair.
Yep.
So they're just kind of seeing, okay, there's these guys in wheelchairs that are doing some fun things, and there's oohs and ahs just from that.
Yeah.
So then once the music stops, sometimes they'll introduce us. But a lot of times I'll just go right in and be like, my name's Mr. Ian. Everybody say, what up, Mr. Ian? And they're all like, well, hey, Mr. Ian. And I'm like, we're with Skool Aid, and we do an introduction. We kind of do a table of contents. But essentially, the wheelchair basketball athlete tells their story of why they have a disability, what their disability is, how they learned how to do things every day. If there was an accident, they talk about that. They talk about their disability specifically. And then I kind of take the next part and talk about the power of positivity. Like, this person is successful because he's not focusing on what he's not good at. He's focusing on what he can be good at and focusing on the positive and putting away the things that he can't control. And if you can do that both on the daily or on the macro level and like throughout your life, you're just going to be a happier person.
Yeah.
And then we talk about like, depends on the wheelchair basketball athlete and their story, but then I kind of wrap that up like, hey guys, like there's all these people in your world that are going to have a hard time focusing on the positive all the time. You have the power to be that bully, to be that negative force in people's lives, not just yourselves, like we said before, but other people's lives as well. But you also have the power to like lift the people up in the world and like show some empathy and like be that person to like spread positivity, not just within, but with outside your area. So like if you have somebody walking down the hallway, give them a smile. Or if there's a little old lady walking down the grocery store, give them a smile. That could like lift the people up around you. Little things. Also, you can do like, if somebody's sitting by themselves at the cafeteria, seeing if they want to hang out with you and your buddies. Or like if somebody's by themselves at recess, let's hang out. Or if somebody's going through a rough time, like see if they want to play Fortnite after school. Or like, these are all the things that we can do to be positive to the people around us. And the more that we bring that positivity to people will bring that positivity to you. And it creates this like upward spiral of awesomeness within your class, within your school, within your community, just by making that choice to like inflict positivity. And then a lot of times, so like Mozzie or you or Jake, whatever the wheelchair basketball athlete is, will to say how you got into wheelchair sports.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk about their career because a lot of these guys have like traveled the world playing wheelchair basketball or wheelchair tennis, and then we'll exemplify. We'll talk about the Dragons. We'll talk about the opportunities in Cincinnati. We'll talk about the opportunity of wherever we're at.
Yeah.
And then I'll encourage like all the people to like try new things. If you never tried wheelchair tennis, well, where would you be? If Jake had never tried wheelchair basketball, he wouldn't have got to go all around the world. So, your job right now is not to figure out all the things that you want, that or like not to have life figured out. It's to try new things. Like if there's an art club after school, try it. If there's like some friends making music down in the garage, try it out. Hop on a bass, grab a mic. If you have an uncle fixing stuff in their garage, like, try that, like fix the lawnmower. You might be like really good at it, or just like it could be a passion or a hobby or a career just by like trying those things. But then after that, we talk about the differences in chairs, between adapted sports chair versus everyday chair. Take some questions, but then we battle it out. Like we do it like Price is Right style, as you've seen. Like, we call the names. You're the next contestant in a wheelchair, and like, come on down. And then we play. I take a team.
So real quick.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
you bring a trailer of 10 wheelchairs.
Well, I'm the hype guy and also the grunt.
Yeah.
So yes, I go pick up all the chairs. I meet the wheelchair basketball athlete at the school.
Yeah.
We load them all in. We put all the chairs in.
And then you give the kids and teachers who want to the opportunity to play wheelchair basketball.
Correct.
And usually we'll be on opposite teams and kind of coordinating and bringing the ball down the hoop and all that.
Yeah, and nice thing about that is like, so I take 16 kids and staff. The wheelchair basketball athlete takes 16 kids and staff. And essentially 4 kids and staff, one of us.
Yeah.
And we can kind of dictate that game. Like if we're down 4, we can usually come back. Although Mozzie hits so many threes, he's really hard to like. And Jake was way better at that, like being nice to me, because I'm nowhere near as good as these guys. I think I can compete with you. But as far as basketball goes,
whoa! Hey, we haven't done a competition. I'll beat you with 4 kids or teachers any day.
Let's go. I'm in. But like I said, regardless of our competition, we can like usually dictate that game, and so there's almost always like a last second shot after the 4 quarters. That makes it super fun. And like then we play We Are the Champions afterwards. And there's always music going on during the game. So I think, and my background of like audio in gyms or like and just sound and like attention to detail. I've at this point I try to make conditions perfect, turning off the HVAC when we walk in. That way, like the kids can hear us easier, making sure the mic's checked, making sure my Bluetooth is. Sometimes I'll have to do that for them and look at their system because they have no idea how to do it.
Right.
In fact, I think that's an education problem, is that there's all this fancy stuff and sometimes they just don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
But, anyway, that's essentially painting that picture.
Yeah.
But I love doing those assemblies.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like the kids are like just like so engaged the entire time, and like they're cheering every time a basket's made. They're like, and like, dude, it's just an awesome experience to do.
We got to do All Saints together. Is that correct?
I don't.
Was that the school that we went to? I think it was.
I think it was a Catholic school, if that helps.
I think so. All Saints is the feeder school that goes into Moeller. You've probably heard of Moeller, like the renowned for baseball and sports and things. And All Saints. But I mean, they loved us. They want us back. I mean, we've had like kids doing the wave at these presentations.
Those
like,
are always fun.
I think it's and that's kind of what I say in our sales meetings and like phone calls with all these schools, is that it's like the perfect mix of hype, and energy mixed with message.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of well rounded on the message. There's a
Mhm.
lot to take from it,
Yeah.
and but also like there's a lot you're gonna remember it because there's a lot of energy going on.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, but I still remember some of the assemblies that I had when I was a kid. In
Yeah.
fact, like both Jake and I had a guy that he was a quadruple amp.
Mm.
He had no arms, no legs. He would go to schools and challenge their best wrestler
Yeah.
at wrestling.
Cool.
And we were, fortunate enough to see this guy, and he whooped up on our best wrestler. And
That's awesome.
it, and I still remember that. So like, I think, if people are somewhat like I am, I think a lot of these people are going to remember our message and
Mm.
are going to remember our assembly. And I think the more details that you work out beforehand and more details to make it more special,
Yeah.
the longer they will remember and the bigger difference that will make.
Mm. Yeah, that's awesome. So talk to me about the people who you said you have how many different classes or programs?
I mean, it's always fluctuating.
Sure.
I mean, all of these, most of these people are people that aren't doing 9 to 5 jobs
Yeah.
because if they're not available between like the hours of like 2 and 6, then because after school for our teaching artist side of our enrichment side is 80% after school.
Sure.
Now the assemblies, I'm not taking into account the assemblies because
Sure.
we've been over 850 schools at this point with
That's
that, and that's
awesome.
all during the day
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
But as far as like all of the enrichment classes, we about 80% is all after schools. So if so it's always fluctuating and like they might take a 9 to 5 or maybe move or might not be available. So like I would say it's between 55 and 60 classes.
Yeah.
Um, it's always like evolving. Like right now, I would love to have a video game design teacher right now. I think STEM is what we lack in general. We have like a fun with science teacher. We have like songwriting and recording teachers, which is, definitely some technology.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier, this podcast, like working with kids to develop to be a YouTuber or be like a TikToker
Yeah.
or like making the shorts or doing the podcast, I think could be a huge program
Yeah.
in this area.
Yeah.
But
That's awesome. So how do you pick the different things that fall under the Skool Aid umbrella?
I mean, sometimes we find people to teach something that we come up with,
Yeah.
but a lot of times it comes from either schools requesting or a teaching artist with an idea.
Yeah.
So, I truly like in our interview, I try to get our teaching artists to not do, I don't really want to hand a curriculum to someone
Mm.
to have them pass someone else's passion to kids.
Mm.
I want them to come up with what their goals are and what they think their message to kids they want to pass to kids,
Yeah.
and then we try to build from there. Like, okay, what world do we? What are your goals? What world do you want to teach that within,
Mhm.
and how can we get there?
Yeah.
So we try to empower these amazing creative people to make their own curriculum,
Yeah.
but we try to give them the tools to do so, like with behavior modifications and positive reinforcement, but also try to give them the skills to build lesson plans.
Yeah.
Our director of programming, Liam Hall, also a really good friend of mine. He's been amazing addition to the Skool Aid team by working with our teaching artists to try to bring movement into all of our classes, but also like to start on a holistic approach, starting with unit plans, break it, and then break it down to like what you're doing weekly, and then breaking that down by the 15-minute increments.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh shoot, I had a follow-up question. Let me see if I can find it. I always do this like at least once a podcast.
Oh, I get it. You're going to the fridge,
Um,
you're sitting on your couch, then you
yeah.
go to the fridge and you're like, "Why am I here? What do I
Yeah,
need?"
yeah, yeah.
And then you go back and sit down, you're like, "Dang it, I wanted some cereal." So then you go
Yeah.
back, yeah.
Yeah. This is. I thank you for
You're welcome.
entertaining people for a second.
Yeah.
This is what I was thinking about. I actually went to school like briefly to be a teacher. I love. I mean, that's why I'm coaching right now. Right? Is I love doing all that. Right?
Mhm.
But and I think this is a door that you opened. I thought going into teaching it was too rigid. Like they almost create your own your lessons plans for lesson plans for you, and they make sure that you're like you have to learn these things and all that, and it's so cool. Well, okay, so first off, do you agree with that sentiment? Like the public schools specifically, like they're kind of more rigid and
I mean, yes.
yeah,
I can't speak. I don't. The last thing I want to do is speak negatively about education. With that
sure,
said,
sure,
that's how I felt when I was there,
yeah,
and I had to like basically be this puppet to teach what other people wanted me to teach,
yeah,
and I wasn't good at that. I'm
yeah,
not very good at taking instructions. I'm not very coachable.
right,
I'm not. I'm but I don't think anybody is.
right.
To a point, I think it loses its luster when you're teaching someone else's
I
passion.
agree.
And that's why like I combat that. I don't
Yeah,
want that.
yeah,
And I think that could be a huge problem in education, and really like that's what School Aid is I think combating,
yeah,
is to trying to still allow um a a human being from being able to not just follow a curriculum or follow someone else's passion,
mhm,
but to allow for that person to be able to work with the kids, how they feel is
yeah,
right. Now, don't get me
yeah,
wrong. By that mentality and by that ideology, I think you're allowing for some really bad teaching,
sure,
but you're also allowing for some really good teaching.
yeah,
And
good ideas.
that's why it's hard. So like curriculums and everything, I think takes the bad, the worst side of the bad teaching,
Yeah,
and but also takes away the really, really good.
right,
And so I'm willing to sacrifice the ideal of it possibly being bad
yeah,
for it possibly being great.
yeah,
And so, but I think the kids deserve that. I
yeah, of
think kids
course.
deserve the chance of getting amazing teaching. Um, and don't get me wrong, that's still happening.
But
Uh,
at the same time, you do have systems in place, so to speak, that like you have like a curriculum
oh yeah,
person
we're
and
not
all
just
that,
like
and
flying
like
by the seat of the pants, and we're constantly checking in with the clients and the teaching artists, making sure it is
yeah,
successful.
exactly.
But also trying to give the freedom to allow
Yeah,
for for people to think on their feet and
yeah,
change it based on the kid
yeah,
and the individual.
mhm,
I remember like during that when School Aid was starting in the Gymboree days, I went to an interview to like I think it was like a nutrition program,
mm,
and it was a specific curriculum that you had to do. And I said, well, what if the kid isn't into this part? Could I do this instead? And they're like, nope. And I'm
mm,
like, but could we do this instead? And they're like, nope.
right,
And I'm like, all right. I literally was like, I don't think I'm your person
yeah,
because um, if you can't differentiate a program for someone that's not getting it,
right,
or for someone that's not able to be successful within the way that I gave it,
right,
or whether it's somebody that's just has a disability or doesn't, or
right,
just young or whatever, if you can't differentiate or adapt you're not going to be able to overcome.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
especially in the world of teaching.
Yeah, I love that, and I don't think it's you mentioned you don't want to talk bad or negatively about the industry, but like I can imagine like my mom's a special ed teacher, And that's I would imagine that's a common complaint. Like, hey, I can't do what I think is best. I have to follow this specific protocol, and I think in general, that's just something that I would love to see as a change. Like like who doesn't want to be unleashed and like do it how they passionately want to do it, you know? As long as the kids are learning the subject and all that, it's like
Well, I mean, there's other, there's avenues that are success. I mean, even in public school, it's not like every teacher are following that curriculum
sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
And they're gonna, even if the principal or the superintendent is telling them not to do that, they're gonna do it for that individual kid, and that's the right way to go.
Mhm.
You also have private schools and all these micro schools and homeschooling.
Yeah.
There's options
Yeah, sure.
out there for being able to, bring you or you know, send your kid to what you feel like you need to.
Yeah.
Now, income based, there isn't as many
Mm.
because if you don't have the money to be able to afford to be able to find the places that can differentiate,
Yeah.
then that's very limiting.
Yeah,
But that's a whole
sure.
nother conversation.
Okay, I'm gonna pivot slightly. We're still gonna talk about School Aid, but you told me something very interesting the other day about how you guys pivoted during the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
So can you talk about that?
Well, yeah. So I don't know the dates. I mean, what? So March. I mean,
Yeah, dates don't really
spring
matter. It's
is
just like
like some of our biggest programming.
yeah,
We were probably at that point. This was 2020 in February and March of 2020. We were probably doing 60 classes a week. I'm guessing. I have no idea. 60 classes a week, let's say.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden, boom, no classes.
right.
So, I'm sitting at home with at that point, I think, fourth grade son, and we're bored. I mean, and like not bored. Like there was plenty to do. Like I set up badminton. Like we had some things going on at the house, but
Yeah.
and hitting into the net. We're doing baseball things, whatever. But I realized like I need to keep this going of some sort. So I put together with the help of my wife. So my wife, before then, I didn't know what Zoom was.
Mm,
I didn't know what Google Meet was. Nobody did, but some people did. My wife works with people all around the nation all the time, so they were doing Zoom meetings all the time.
yeah.
In fact, we had I think it was a beer, like 16-ounce glass that said Zoom on it. I didn't even know what that was, never asked about it. Well, and I was like, so show me how this works. And so I threw it out. I was like, all right, hey, kids of Skool Aid Nation. Or then I texted all my buddies, hey, neighbors, hey, friends, we're going to do a Lego challenge.
Mm,
And this was literally like day 3 after like the NBA canceled
yeah.
their league and then school stopped.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, Lego challenge. You are trapped on Mars. And you're gonna take your Legos, you're gonna build a spaceship, and then we're gonna get on tonight on Zoom at 7:00, and you're gonna tell me your story about how you got back to Mars with your spaceship.
That's awesome.
So this was like geared towards like, probably kindergartners through 5th graders ish.
Mhm.
Dude, we had like 35 people on that Zoom meeting that night. And like me and
Wow.
Emily and Eli recorded that together and said Legos, and told that challenge, sent it to all the people.
Mm.
But yeah, we had like 35 people on there and they were all like showing their Lego creations and telling their story about how they got it there. And I don't know why we picked that. It was probably me and Eli and Emily like coming up with a challenge.
Yeah.
Well, and the idea was like, all right, and the winner gets to pick the next week's challenge or like the next day's challenge or whatever we did.
Ah.
And so actually this little boy from my son's old like Montessori school, Henry, won the challenge.
Yeah.
He had told this elaborate story and had this big spaceship and it was freaking awesome. Like, yes, Henry, you won. I think we had a voting system. I don't remember, but I always get way elaborate in like point systems.
Yeah.
Like, so I always did. Like, we would do ping pong tournaments when I was a kid, and we would do like kickball and baseball tournaments when we were kids, and I always had like point systems and stats and like all the things. Well, so anyway, he came up with a illustration challenge, and you had to design a front of a book and write a synopsis of your book that you're about to do, whatever. So then we did it again, like that next day or that next week or 2 days later or whatever. And that was successful. We had a bunch. Well, then I had a client from Norwood call and say, hey, that's awesome. Let's do this together.
Yeah.
Her name's Laura Ferguson. She's been probably our longest client ever. And she like saw what we were doing, and she was like, hey, let's do this together. Let's have your teaching artists, you know, and then instead of like doing live programs, we started doing on-demand activities where we did not necessarily lessons on like follow like our step-by-step guide type thing, but we did like 10 to 15-minute videos. So we had a cartoonist, you know, do a 5 to 10-minute video just on their phone at home. It wasn't all fancy like this.
Yeah.
Wish it was. And saying, hey, do this cartooning activity. Or we had our passport to the world teacher. Do this, play this game with your little brother at home from India. Or we had me and Jake did a couple in my backyard and said, hey, guys, you know, this is how we adapt the world of wiffle ball, because Jake actually and Mozzie played in our wiffle ball league.
Oh, cool.
And we changed the rules a little bit so that they could be successful.
Yeah.
Like Mozzie doesn't have a whole lot of torque, so we allowed him to use a bigger bat. Jake doesn't. You know, doesn't have use of his legs, so he doesn't get as much power. So we brought in like the single line a little bit smaller. So we changed the rule just a little bit to allow them to be as successful as they probably would be as an able body. Yeah, tried at least. Right. And so we made a video saying, hey, this is how we adapted our wiffle ball league. You guys be the adapters here. If you have a younger brother and they want to play and you are like only have 3 12-year-olds, but then you got this 8-year-old, why don't you let them like just hit the rim and then they score? Yeah. Or like, you know, come up with ways to include people of different abilities, whether it's disability or age or whatever, to be able to be successful.
That's awesome.
So yeah, very quickly we came up, our teaching artist. And luckily, Norwood was able to, you know, was able to fund a lot of that to help us do that. A lot of our teaching artists were making these videos at home, and we ended up with like 120, 140 on-demand activities for schools to basically purchase a monthly subscription to be able to do that. And we called it Skool TV, and that's actually still available. Some schools still do that. That's not our main focus to like get that people out, and we really haven't put like a lot of dollars in like making it more better technology wise. Sure. But we probably should, because that's probably the thing that is most exponential, and we would be able to like you know, work with any school in Asia or Hawaii or wherever in the world.
Yeah. Okay. So we also talked about this. So you're a for-profit business.
We are.
And you know, all this talk, I think somebody might be surprised to hear that you're not a nonprofit. What made you make that decision to not be a nonprofit?
Well, I mean, I think the decision in the beginning was mainly out of necessity, because very quickly when I wasn't able to work with the Drama Kinetics, when I wasn't able to work with them, I had to start a business. And the quickest way was to be able to start an LLC to be able to continue to do what I was doing. Yep. Now, there's not a year that goes by that it doesn't, you know, make me at least reconsider that decision with the thought of starting a nonprofit, because a lot of, you know, it would be easier, or at least it would just be a different model. Yeah. I mean, I think you can do great things under the model of for-profit or nonprofit, and you can do really bad things under the world of for-profit or nonprofit. It's basically just a tax exemption.
Right.
And so, I like the idea of being able to pivot quickly, like we were able to in the COVID times, and not have to answer to a board.
Yeah.
Because I'm not great with authority and I'm not that coachable. But also because I want to be able to guide this company how I feel it should be,
Right.
as opposed to kind of relinquishing that. Now, it might be a power issue, but it also is, I don't know. I mean, also, if it's not broke, why fix it?
Yeah.
And my thoughts have been, why try to beg people for money or do fundraising and write grants when there's all of these entities that are able to hire us that are already doing that. And so I feel like I'm going to be fighting for the same dollars that these people that are our clients are already fighting for or in getting.
Yeah.
And why can't we just focus on the niche of being this group of passionate people to pass our passion to kids, as opposed to hiring another admin person to write grants, hiring another admin person to essentially like fundraise, and then we're like so top heavy that it's a little bit more scary at that point. And don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm scared of like gambling, or I'm not scared of trying new things.
Right.
But I haven't ever made the decision that that's something new that we need to do.
Yep.
I think it could be successful. I do. But I don't think we've ever been restricted by that.
So then I thought your answer was, why not do both? I thought that this answer was pretty cool. So
well, a lot of people have said, well, why don't you start a Skool Aid foundation? That way you can like get fundraise and have like scholarships and monies that you can give for Skool Aid programs. But I just feel like that's shady. Like, I feel like it's conflict of interest. Now, obviously, from my understanding, it is conflict of interest if I'm running the foundation. Don't get me wrong.
Oh.
If somebody wants to start a foundation to be able to fund our programs, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it can be me.
Yeah.
And
okay.
But I mean, really, my goal is to find other organizations or other companies that do have similar goals, but might have time to fundraise and write the grants. And if we are able to do that for them and just focus on the programming, I think I don't understand that being the issue. And then because I see a lot of organizations paying an education director $70,000 to do a very small amount of programming and outreach, when we could take that $70,000 and do an exponential amount of programming because we're not admin heavy. We have this amazing partner in the Louisville area called Critically Loved, and they have their biggest goals are to spread anti-bullying and disability awareness programming and any type of kid advocacy. They want to try to bring programs and not just in the education world, but all walks of life to raise awareness about, positivity. And so that kids don't ever have to go down the road of any type of abuse, whether it be sexual abuse or just, bullying or, parental, whatever. They try to like do. Anyway, they saw our program about 5 years ago and was just like, instead of recreating the wheel, how can we recruit you guys to come to Louisville and do the programming, do your programming? And I'm like, well, it's all about funding. So, now a lot of we're already kind of going in that area a little bit because Kentucky really has embraced our wheelchair basketball assembly,
Great.
and they're starting to embrace our family Olympics program. We're starting to travel with that as well.
Great.
But so essentially they give us around $10,000 a year. We turn that into about $20,000 worth of programming by saying, hey, Louisville schools or that surrounding area, if you want us to come there, it's 50% off for you the first time, and Critically Love will fund the other half. The second time we come to you, it'll be 75% for you, 25% from Critically Love.
Yeah.
And that allows us to still do all the work for them. We're calling the schools, we're doing that, but they're, basically helping support that work by being a partner there. And so if we could have like a few more partners to help fund what we're doing and really buy into the idea of the programming that we're doing, that would do the whole thing. And it could be a Skool Aid foundation, but that just doesn't seem right to me.
Right. It doesn't seem right to you. Yeah. All right. So here's a question that we haven't really addressed yet. You're able-bodied.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm disabled, and you've taken up wheelchair basketball and doing wheelchair basketball at these assemblies.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I just wanted to point that out. We'll get into a little bit of a more disability talk a little bit later, but first, it's time for our Wheelie Bad Jokes segment. Wheelie Bad Jokes. So here's how it works. This will be a quick segment. I'm going to tell you a funny dad joke, and you rate it, and then you give me one back if you have one. No pressure to give me one back, though.
See, I'm not good at that. Jake is really good at coming up with all kinds of wheelie bad jokes.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be wheelchair joke oriented. Any dad joke, if you have it. Again, no pressure, but at the very least, I want you to rate it. You ready?
Okay, go.
Okay. Why did the student? Oh no. Okay. Why did the student bring a ladder to school?
Why?
Because they were ready to reach new heights.
See, you want me to rate that?
Yeah.
Out of 10?
Yeah.
I'll make my own scale.
Yeah.
1 out of 10.
Uh-huh.
I mean, 3 on that one.
3. Oh.
I mean, you didn't invent it, right?
No, I didn't. But
yeah, so I'm not hurting your feelings.
No.
The Laffy Taffy jokes, I call them.
Yeah.
And I'm more of a I pride myself in being a humorous individual, but I'm more of a quick type of guy.
Okay.
Trying to add my dad joke fun onto a situation or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not great with just like remembering those things.
Yeah.
Like why do I don't know. All those questions or whatever.
What was really funny is the last couple episodes the scores just kept getting better and better. Last podcast I got a 10 out of 10 on the joke. I can tell you what it is afterwards, but anyway,
and I'm not much of sorry.
No.
But I'm not much of a like prepared joke guy.
Yeah.
To be honest, don't get me wrong. I think and maybe it's just because this is what I'm good at. So, I don't get me wrong. I can really appreciate the storyteller and appreciate the person that just remembers a script.
Yeah.
Because that's what a joke is, right? Remembering that script. I can appreciate that, but I appreciate like the coming up with the comedic ideas,
quick humor,
on the like in the moment, a little bit more than just like the curriculum of jokes, right?
Yeah. So I will say, and again, I'm not offended by the rating at all. It's just a fun little thing that I'm doing.
And I'm really just joking them.
But I will say, you have since I've been doing this segment, you have given me the lowest rating out of all of them, which again, I don't care.
Well, in
it is
all
what it
walks
is.
of life, I'm pretty good at with calling as I see it.
Yeah, you
A
are.
lot of people are nicer than me.
That's so true. And I definitely think the 10 out of the 10 was extremely nice because
Right.
I was like, there's no way that's like
That wasn't even funny.
because 10 out of 10, I would say that's the best joke you've ever heard. And these
Yeah.
are all dad jokes. And no dad joke is the best dad joke the best joke that they've ever
maybe
heard.
they were going on the scale of best dad joke.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We have to define our scale.
Yeah.
So maybe you should say that, like,
Yeah.
because it even went through my head, like, am I ranking on best joke or am I
Best
ranking
dad
on
joke.
best dad joke?
What did you rate it
I
at?
went with
Best joke? Okay.
I think that's what you said.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Well, I just said rate it, so
If it was top 5, if it was just dad joke,
yeah.
you might have crossed the 5.
Okay. That's probably about average of what I've been getting, so I'll take that.
But I literally did consider that.
Yeah.
And that's how weird I am, or like thorough I am with like point systems for games.
Yeah.
So like those scales are huge.
Yeah.
And so like I do think about like those point systems a lot, and that's why I thought about that scale.
Yeah. That's fascinating that you thought of it like that. I think you're the first person that like
differentiated
at least was able to vocalize,
or
like,
at least cared enough to think about
it.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Okay, let's get into our disability segment, and this is probably one of my favorite segments. But so you've kind of mentioned this already, but can you elaborate? What's your experience with disability?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, I was a special education teacher for 3 years.
Yep.
And even before that, I mean, I had a little bit of experience with people with disabilities just because I went to Holmes High School in Covington, and they had a pretty large disability community.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, ultimately, my probably biggest one-on-one experiences with Jake. Growing up together, even like when he started playing wheelchair basketball locally at 19, a lot of my buddies like tried that with them. Now, I don't think I went to any of those days, but like I heard about it and was around Jake around a lot. So, and then I went and saw his like some of his collegiate career, and but then once he retired and started coming back, I mean, on the road with all of these people with disabilities, with Jake and Mozzie mainly, just like learning from them and trying to follow their lead, and like, but also having my own ideas as well. Like I've also, for a couple years, like way before COVID, I was in like, because we were doing these assemblies, we actually had a partner with LAD, Living Arrangements for Developmental Disabilities. They ran a film festival called Real Abilities.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do. It was great.
So Jake and I were invited to a lot of those meetings, and we're invited to a lot of those, like a lot of the films, and like they were kind of fancy parties for fancy folks, and I had some fun with those. I got to meet all kinds of like famous people with disabilities, and that was super fun. So I like learned those stories. And
I will say Jake is probably one of the most fascinating people to talk to about disability. If you guys haven't seen the episode with Jake, go watch it. It's pretty unique, just the discussions, because we had like so many disagreements. Because I'm about to ask some more nuanced questions, but we had some disagreements on like, just is it appropriate to ask someone what their disability is? And for me, it's like, yeah, absolutely. You can ask me anything. I don't care if you're a complete stranger. And then he brings up like super good points about like, well, he's like, well, Zach, like I got run over by a train. And the amount of questions that follow, you got run over by a train, are just endless, and I don't have time for that. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't have problems talking about it. He's like, no, not at all. But it just gets cumbersome.
Well, he doesn't have problems talking about it
Yeah.
if it's the appropriate time.
Correct.
But he doesn't need to be like this like clown and pony show.
Yes,
Where
exactly.
and that's I think his ideology. And
Yeah.
I'm at this point I'm speaking for him.
Yeah.
But which is silly. But after spending so much time with him, I know that he is commonly like when we'll go out or whatever, it's nonstop. Hey, what war were you in?
Yeah.
Were you in the military? Or
Yeah.
hey, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
Or and to be honest, it's okay with kids. I think he's probably a little bit more open to that.
Yeah.
But like if it's adults, like why does he need to say the same
Right.
exact same thing over and over and over?
Right.
And we've actually talked a little bit about your approach is way different.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, hey, let's address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I have a disability because of this, and if you want to ask me, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously they see me in a chair, but like,
Yeah.
I don't need to satisfy their curiosity.
Yeah. Yeah.
By letting them know exactly what is going on with me. So
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Well,
like I said, I can't answer for him, but
yeah, no worries. So going back to that question, one of the things for me is like I could say I have spina bifida. I had a hole in my back when I was born. It paralyzed me from below the knees, and then it's like done. Like you might have another
Right.
question or two, but it doesn't have that burden, and that was just such a neat perspective. And as I've been doing this, I've been talking with more and more people about it, and like I don't know. So let me ask you this: going back to like the assemblies and stuff.
well, yeah. Let me answer that.
Go
So
ahead.
like, and a lot of and that'll come up every time we do an assembly. Like, hey, what's your disability? Because like once we talk about the person's disability. And then we take questions. They're like, well, why are you here? You know?
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of different answers I could give. Number one, I started Skool Aid, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Number two, because I mean, at this point, I'm actually a pretty decent wheelchair basketball player.
Yeah.
But that's just because I started playing with Jake even before we were doing the assemblies. Adam was working at the CRC, trying to start a wheelchair basketball team in Cincinnati. Jake started going. And then, it was just like the two or three of them, a couple buddies. But so then Jake was like, well, hey, will you come play? And I'm like, I'll come try to play some wheelchair basketball. And then we recruited a lot of our wiffle ball buddies to come. And then we had like 4-on-4 or 5-on-5 or and then eventually when somebody with a disability would show up, then it wasn't just like Jake and Adam sitting there shooting basketball and be like, oh, this isn't a team.
Right.
It literally was pickup games of wheelchair basketball going on. And really like that's kind of helped. And that's what Jake and Ian Lynch and Mozzie and all these guys and Adam have said, like that was super instrumental. But I was doing it because I like hanging out with my buddy and I wanted to help grow that program. And so now, like, I mean, very quickly they started that adult team. Now they have that kids team, which I like to think I helped a little bit in that world.
Yeah.
Mainly just from supporting Jake. And like, he was my right-hand dude building Skool Aid. I was his right-hand guy building the Dragons.
Yeah.
I like to think that. And I think he feels the same way.
Let me ask you this. You brought up you playing wheelchair basketball with them.
Yeah.
Do you think able-bodied people should have a place in wheelchair sports, like competition?
To a point, if we want to be inclusive, then how come able-bodied folks are being excluded?
I love that.
With that said, I think it should only be used when needed.
Yeah.
Because and I think at this point, I believe women's wheelchair basketball, it does include able bodies so that they can build that sport.
Yeah.
Genius.
Mm-hmm.
But once that if you have enough athletes with disabilities that are able to play, I'm okay with excluding too, because they get excluded from all kinds of things. So like, why can't they?
Yeah,
so
sure.
I don't know it would have been kind of cool for me to be able to be on that team. Cause even Jake was like, it would have been nice. Like,
Yeah.
especially when we were in like D3,
Right.
we could have just sat you down at the post, and then I could have like actually learned some of the schemes and things.
Right.
I never got into all of that just because, I wasn't able to anyway.
Yeah.
Not that I would have like made time for that.
Yeah.
But it would have been kind of cool to be included, or at least to have that option.
Yeah.
But if I'm taking somebody with a disability spot from that team,
True.
then obviously that's an issue.
I agree. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because they can't go down to the YMCA and play able-bodied basketball like I can.
Yeah.
So maybe I should, and I definitely wouldn't want to take somebody's spot if they can't play what I can play, and then I'm taking that spot. That's where that goes wrong, that ideology.
Interesting.
I don't know.
That is a unique perspective that I haven't heard before. I really like that. Generally, I'm under the impression that able-bodied people should play because you have so many people who. Do you know who Steve Welsh is? Steve Welsh was probably 90s wheelchair basketball and tennis player, maybe early 2000s, maybe. But anyway, I was at a tennis tournament and he gets up and he stands up and he lifts his chair up over his head and just starts walking out. And it's like he can't play sports because he has something wrong with it. He can't play able-bodied sports because he has something wrong with his ankles. So it's like, well, at that point, like, why not get able-bodied people playing the sport too? But that's a really good point. Is if there's a disabled person sitting on the bench because an able-bodied person is playing, then that's maybe an issue as well. So and then with tennis, it gets even harder because you're doing one-on-one with tennis, and so we have a paraplegic division, and then we have a quadriplegic division, right? And the quads can play in para, and so maybe there could be another division, which is like an everybody division. So you still have the para division, you still have the quad division.
I mean, as of now, and I'm guessing if there's a para division, then there's got to be a amputee division, or there's not.
Not in tennis. No.
So tennis, an amputee would just compete in the para division?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, and I know in basketball,
so maybe
there's a point system.
Yeah, maybe it's not para, it's just disability division. And then you have quad division.
Gotcha. So what did you compete in? I guess the para division, or any ability division.
Yeah, the disability division.
Right.
Yeah. And so real quick, here's the problem with just doing like an amputee division is like our tournament we had maybe 30 players, which maybe between 30 and 40, let's say, our last tournament. And so if you break those up too much,
then you're only going to be competing against 8 people, right?
You're playing the same people, and then there's also like different skill levels. So we have A, B, C, and A being the best, and so it's like we've broken it down to skill level, and so if you're a quad, you can play C's or B, or you can play any of those, but generally speaking, as you get better, you're playing in A's. That's the division.
I mean, ultimately, the demand has to dictate that system.
That's true.
So it's like, if you have 500 people that want to play wheelchair tennis, then you're going to need to break that up into all kinds of different divisions, so that you have people winning. You have people you want to be able to be pushed. If you only have 30 people at that level, then you are going to maybe like just have 2 divisions or whatever.
Yeah.
But ultimately, and that's kind of why I was saying if I'm not taking a spot away from somebody, but I'm there to like help the sport grow, then that's when it makes sense to allow for that. So it's just like anything. The demand is going to have to dictate how you run that. Like for example, I run a kids wiffle ball league, and if I have 40 different people that sign up, then maybe I'll do 2 divisions,
right?
A 7 through 11 division, and then a 12 through 16 division, to be able to break that up. But if we only have 15 people or 16 people, I'm just going to do one division.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I said, if you're taking away somebody's spot, well, let me go back to this real quick. I like from my knowledge of wheelchair basketball, their point system is amazing. And so it does allow for inclusivity within the exclusivity, right?
Yeah.
So you're allowing the one pointer to be on to need to always be on the court, so that it allows maybe 2 4-pointers to be able to, and they just all have different rules. And then I think, what is it, 15 points need to be on the floor at all times,
something like that. I don't know.
I'm still I still know the 12-point system from like 10 years ago in America, as opposed to the international system. And then they went to international system all around, and I know that it goes up to 5 instead of 3 now. And I think that was, and so I would be a 5 now as opposed to a 3, but they do differentiate it. And I think Jake would be like a 3-5, but it all is dependent on ability, and like how much freedom you have with your body and how much you're able to move that. So a paraplegic might be a 2 or a 2-5, depending on where that break in the spine is. But that's a big difference between, so they might go all the way from like a 1-5 to like a 3-5. That's my guess. But
now here's another interesting thing about the quad tennis division is you have to have 3 or more limbs impaired.
Oh yeah.
And so I could have both my pinkies and my pinky toe impaired, and then I can play quad.
Right.
And in the Paralympics, there are a lot of quads who have their trunk, who have ab control. And I don't think that that's fair. Like I have
there's too much gray area there.
Yeah, I have a quad who has like a C6 injury. Like it's a super high. So like he has to tape his racket to his hand and all that. And like there's no way that like someone like that can compete against someone with abs. Like you just can't.
Tennis baffles me to begin with, because I mean, you literally have to push a chair with 2 hands and still hold a racket. So that's why I've never even. I mean, I think I've like hit a ball a few times, but I've never even because my wheelchair skills are obviously not where somebody that's in a wheelchair every day's skills can be. And so like. I've gotten okay wheelchair skills enough to be able to compete with not something in my hand, but
anytime you want to come out, I got a chair for you if you want it.
I still think I can beat you at basketball, but I'm not even going to attempt for the tennis.
Okay, so question about basketball. You think you can beat me one-on-one?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever played one-on-one wheelchair basketball.
I'll bring my cameras. We can film it. We'll put it on YouTube, and
yeah, I'll try it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Challenge accepted. It's the last time I played basketball was at your school assembly.
Oh, so, nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I probably do play way more than you do.
Yes. Yeah.
But obviously you're in a chair a lot more than I am.
Yeah. I'm curious. I think you might have better shots than me.
Oh, I don't know.
But I think that I could. I think my chair skills are better. And
I can't imagine.
I think I could stop you from making those inside shots more.
Yeah, sure.
That's my general analysis of like briefly.
I'm kind of interested in this.
Yeah. Me too. Okay, so next question. What's one of the most common questions you get when doing disability related assemblies?
I mean, me specifically is like, what is your disability?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've completely finished that, but like, I don't have a disability, and I stand up and I'm like, it's a miracle. I can walk and I can do a little dance, and like, I try to make a joke out of it. And then that's why I'm saying, well, Skool Aid is my company.
Yeah.
I started it like, teaching music and PE, but then we put this presentation together, and now I'm like the hype guy.
Yeah.
And I've gotten pretty decent at wheelchair basketball just because I have a lot of buddies that play wheelchair basketball, and I love it. And now I'm nowhere near as good as Mozzie, Jake, or Adam or whatever.
Yeah.
But I can, I can hold my own at this point.
Yeah.
So that's my my biggest question, I would say,
Yeah.
that I get at an assembly.
What about I guess the one that made you laugh or like I don't know.
Well, maybe
Probably
not.
nothing surprises you anymore, but
I
like
mean, and it's mainly directed at Jake, like
yeah.
the laughable comments. But like, I mean, we've had kids like, "Are they gonna grow back?"
Oh
Or and then like, yeah, like, um, I mean, all yeah, that's been asked multiple times. Like, "Are
yeah.
your legs gonna grow back?" No, they're not gonna grow back.
Yeah.
And then later on, Jake and I'll laugh like, "Yeah, we have like his old leg in a jar, like the scientist." Um,
Oh, that's great.
and because I mean, there's all kinds of questions that we've gotten over the years that will just like surprise us a little bit.
Yeah.
And I will say, Jake was the best at making a question that making a kid not feel like he asked a bad question
Right, yeah.
by bringing in the best answer
Mm,
for said question,
mm,
and just acting like the question really was about this.
yeah.
So let's teach about that.
Mhm.
He was so good at that, and now
Yeah.
he still is great at that skill.
Yeah.
But we're just not doing assemblies
Right.
anymore. But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, there's other disability topics, but we are at like 2:15 right now.
Are we
So
really?
I wanna I wanna ask you a few more questions, and then we'll wrap up. Sound
I have a
good?
little time. I'm not in a huge hurry.
Okay.
So
Um.
whatever.
Okay. So I guess what's next for Skool Aid?
Ooh. What's next for Skool Aid? So we, we have basically I will look at it into like four different sectors,
Mhm.
right? Our enrichment, which is basically like, you can use our enrichment classes. These are like hour-long programs. You can use them as one-time workshops. You can use them as a series of classes during the day, after school, or for like family engagement.
Mhm.
That, to be honest, hasn't gone well lately just because we spend a lot of time on that world
Mhm.
and grants are going away and going away.
Mhm.
So we've been um, diversifying by doing our parent paid programs that we call elective enrichment, and that parents will just go online and purchase this weekly program in the world of art or the world
Oh,
of music, and we do this, and then we go to their school and do that program.
cool.
So we've put that we've been doing that for like 6 years, but we're building that mainly out of necessity
Yeah.
because it's our job as an advocate for the teaching artist and as an advocate for kids to be able to figure out how to connect passionate people with kids.
Mhm.
And that's one way that we're doing that. The other way, but our wheelchair basketball portion, our assemblies, and our Olympics have exponentially grown.
Mm.
And that's what I really want to put a little bit more energy into because, I mean, not just the kids that have come up to us and said that was the best assembly or the best day ever, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
It's also the people that are hiring us and saying that was the best assembly that we've ever had, and then they'll have us like every year, or say, well, let's have you every 2 years so
Yeah.
that we remind them of your message, and so that's why and it's kind of a big thing to say it's the perfect blend between hype and message, but that's because that's what these clients and kids are telling us.
Yeah.
So that's been exponentially. Well, it hasn't grown huge, but at this point, really, because Jake is now doing UC basketball, it presents a time that we could grow that.
Mm.
We could, have if I can duplicate myself and have more than one grunts / hype guys person to go in and get the wheelchairs, a person to go, hype up the crowd and play the music and do some of the emceeing.
Yeah.
And then a wheelchair athlete, telling his story or her story like that, I think is a program that we can grow and have a program that is the theme of the power of positivity, or another assembly that's a theme of inclusion, or another assembly that's a theme of anti-drugs, or another assembly that's a theme of just adapted sports in general, and then still have some of the messages, but and play wheelchair basketball or some type of adapted sport at the end of the assembly. I think that's the thing that I would love to grow.
Yeah.
And it seems like you, Adam, Mozzie, Jake, all of these individuals want to do these assemblies. And so if their want is there, and that's what schools are asking for the most, then maybe I should just concentrate more efforts on that.
Right.
But I still believe in art with kids and music with kids. I don't ever want to get rid of that or stop doing that.
Yeah.
Although it's not as successful money-wise and it's not as successful, but I think we're making just as much of a difference in that world as we are. I don't know, maybe not just as much, but very good amount of difference still. Whatever that number is.
Just a random
scale of difference.
Yeah. A random question I just thought of. Have you ever thought about doing similar things with businesses?
Yes.
Okay.
I've actually written a few proposals. It just hasn't. Well, it's come to fruition a little bit. Jake and I have done multiple inclusion or wheelchair basketball assemblies at some corporate worlds.
Okay.
So we actually did an assembly style program for 50 judges at one point downtown in Cincinnati, and instead of playing wheelchair basketball at the end because we didn't have a gym, we just did a relay race, and it was super fun.
Yeah.
It went really well.
Okay.
That's why we always say we've worked with 4-year-olds to 80-year-olds in this program because those 80-year-olds were the judges. We've done a couple programs and other corporate events, but I would love to do an Olympics with an entire business and have their families come and put them on to different teams. So I only kind of touched on the Olympics, but the way it works is I kind of call it field day on steroids because when we put them, let's say we have 800 people show up. And we've done an Olympics that large, but I guess usually our sweet spot is 200. So let's say there's 200 people. We'll divide them into teams of 15 to 20. So if it's 200, we'd probably like to be around, teams of 15, which the math there I think is around 15 stations. So we'll do about 15 stations. We'll set up 15 different games, and we probably wouldn't have time, depending on the time of the event, to go to every team go to all 15 stations. But so we would probably double up 2 of them. So we would do probably 14 or 16 stations, and then everybody go to 7 or 8 stations. But we only assign a color. So I think what kind of separates us is we only assign a color to each team: purple, red, green, gold, whatever. And then we give them material, and we give them 15 minutes of what we call spirit time, where they kind of spirit up. They come up with a team name. They come up with a team chant to do in between the stations. They sometimes make a team flag, and then we give them material to rip up and cut up and make Rambo headbands and hair ties. Yeah. So they teamwork it up. They spirit up. And then at each station, instead of just giving points, and this is where my OCD of point systems comes in, instead of just giving points for just winning a game, we give points for awesomeness. Okay. And awesomeness is defined in many ways. Winning a game could be one, but mostly if you're listening, if you're exemplifying teamwork, if you're showing skills and persistence, like if you fail at first and then you keep trying, you're getting points.
Cool.
If you're showing kindness, if you're showing spirit, if you come to our station and you're like, rah, rah, let's go red, rah, rah, let's go red. You know, like if you're doing any of these, what we call awesomeness, you're going to be getting points as an individual. In the form of schoolie points, and then you're getting points as a team. And so whoever at the end in the closing ceremonies, whoever has the most team points and whoever has the most individual points gets prizes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
So I would love to do that at the corporate level. I've actually written a couple proposals to do that. They just haven't come to fruition.
Okay.
Maybe we're asking for too much money.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because it would be a lot. It would be a
lot
large doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Sure. Interesting. Okay. Last question about Skool Aid. If a funder gave you resources, but only for one pilot, what would you test? Unlimited resources.
Like money?
Yeah. Money.
So it gave me money to pilot one
thing.
But a pilot would mean it would have to be something new.
Yeah. Something you'd test. Could be a new program, could be doing stuff with businesses. I don't know. Like
I mean, if I could just come up with something new all of a sudden, I feel like I would have already done it, whether I had funding or not.
Interesting.
Okay. Because
good answer.
That's kind of what we do. Like if we come up with an idea, we're just going to run with it. So like if I had a large amount of money to be able to like make one of the things better, I'll give you two answers.
Okay.
Number one, my heart would answer building this wheelchair basketball assembly, largely buying 5 trailers.
Yeah.
Hiring a 5 grunt/hype guys.
Yeah.
And maybe another 20 wheelchairs to be able to have like 3 teams or 5 teams of people to go to different places.
Yeah.
That would be my heart.
That'd be awesome.
Maybe what I would choose.
Yeah.
The money side of me would probably go and do Skool TV.
Yeah. Oh.
Use lots of fancy equipment to have our teachers come in, do the on-demand activities, and that I think that's a product that we could sell worldly as opposed to just regionally.
Interesting.
But I don't know. Yeah, those are probably my 2 answers.
I those are both great answers. That'd be awesome. Okay, so closing question. What's one thing you hope listeners take away from the episode today?
Jump.
Oh,
I mean,
good. Yeah.
I think that, like I said, I've been very lucky and blessed within my life to have lots of pieces to come together and to be able to for me to be a happy person. But I think ultimately it was my persistence of saying no to things that didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And saying yes to things that felt right. And being okay to like be that advocate for myself to combat the negative and what didn't feel right, and combat like what didn't I don't know what I didn't want to do. And then saying yes to opportunities that felt right, and saying yes to things, even if it was like stepping out of my comfort zone of like being a musician or singing and dancing for mommy and me classes, or playing wheelchair basketball, or starting a wiffle ball league, or doing things and then trying to figure out the money. That's what I've been fortunate enough to be able to do. And I'm aware of that privilege. And a lot of that is because of my wife and my support system and my parents and and just people around me that help support all of my ideas and shenanigans.
Yeah.
But ultimately, try it. Like if you're, I just think you're going to be a happier person if you can like try to follow what you love and try to make money from things that you love to do. And don't get me wrong, it's hard because I still see like, people that, that they would if they'd had the insurance, or they would if they didn't have the $70,000 job. It's really easy to not jump and stay with like supporting a larger conglomerate. I get it. And so it's hard, but even if you're making less, I feel like if you're doing what you love, then it doesn't feel like work. And then maybe you'll have time for other things because you still have the motivation after those 8 hours because it didn't even feel like work. I don't know.
That's awesome. I love that answer. Okay. Where can people find you?
Where can people find me? So skoolaid.com is our website for Skool Aid. You can find more about our wheelchair basketball assemblies. You can find more about our Olympics and all of our enrichment programs on that website. You can find more about our wiffle ball leagues. We have a Facebook page under WANK, Wiffle Ball Association of Northern Kentucky.
Okay.
We have the Kids League at Turner's. That's an awesome collaboration. If you want to listen to some music that I've put out in years past, I was in a band with Red Meets Green for about 4 or 5 years, and we have like an EP out there. Just search Red Meets Green, and I think it's on SoundCloud.
Okay.
That's some music that we've created. I was in a band for almost 10 years with a band called Common Center. And we have like 5 albums out, like on all of the things. So if you search Common Center on YouTube, or if you search Common Center on any of the platforms, Apple Music or Spotify or like all of those things, you'll find some things.
Okay. So Skool Aid, SKOOLAID.com.
That's
Got it.
Yep.
Cool. I just wanted to throw out the SK. So,
yeah, good point.
So that people, any other things that you want to shout out from a social media standpoint, or?
No, I mean,
Okay.
I don't really do the Twitters, and I felt like doing a couple things well as opposed to like all of the things not well was best. I never got a Twitter account, although that might have been the best, but whatever.
Sure.
Especially business wise, I do a little Instagram, I do Facebook.
Okay.
I try not to get on it. Although those reels are fun to watch.
Yeah, they are.
And now you're making them, so like I'm gonna have to, and I might even have one of myself. Is that correct?
Yeah. You'll have a couple of yourself. Yep.
So yeah, I mean those are fun, but
Okay.
I think
That's good for
those pretty much
shouting
all my
out
things.
everything. Okay, great. Well, cool. I very much appreciate you coming on. You are a high energy, very knowledgeable person, and it's cool to dig into Skool Aid and figure out the inner workings of it. And I hope somebody gets some inspiration to potentially jump and maybe even start something like this in their own city.
Sure. No, yeah. I mean, I'd love to help make that happen. And I mean, I've thought about franchising and because I mean, it's definitely a franchisable thing.
Yeah, of course.
But
cool.
You're not going to get rich from it,
right? Anything before we end? Anything else that you want to discuss?
No, I think I'm pretty good. We've been here for what, like 3 hours at this point.
2:31 right now. So it was good. Well, again, thank you so much. And everybody else, thank you for joining the Rolling Forward podcast. If you like what you heard, hit that like button, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Ian was just my 70th subscriber. I'm looking to get to 100 shortly. So if you could hit that subscribe button, it would help me out a lot. And then if you want to wear a t-shirt like this, says I'm on a roll with a guy laughing in a wheelchair, you can get my t-shirts over at rollingforward.printful.me. And if you like if you like what you've heard today and you want to come on the show, let me know in the comments. You might be my next guest. Until next time, everybody, keep. Oops, hold on. Until next time, everybody, keep rolling forward. Thanks all.